we see our first competitor for this match. It's Colorful. And Colorful, the first time ever, he's top seed in the group at a WGL and just showed his rise in recent months, man. Next spring, 2nd place. DreamHack Summer, 2nd place. Huya Invitational, 2nd place. But where's the win, Mr. Remo Demo? Will it finally happen? Can Colorful break into that top elite tier that he's so close to at the moment?
Yeah, he's one of these guys in this tournament, him and Chimiko, who definitely have a pretty solid shot. Over the last 2 or 3 weeks, he has been suffering some defeats again, whereas before that, he seemed to be winning absolutely everything, so he has been humbled a bit again. Especially against Human, he is stupidly strong. With his Keeper, Demon, and Bears, and the counter expansion usually, his playstyle there, his performance there is always great. Against Orc, it's a bit of a different story. It's going to be Keeper Hunt's expansion, but also there, he's really solid. I think Colorful doesn't have any weak matchups right now. He's outstanding in the micro department, one of the best dials in the world there, and this patch seems to be favoring him. His shape is great at the moment, and he is definitely looking to be in a good position to make it out of this group.
And there we see him in the pre-match interview. Moon is for him the favorite, as so often he was defeated by him in DreamHack, for example. He sees the map pool advantageous for Night Elf, that of course suits him. And yeah, the interview question says it, man. Colorful, as good as he is, his WGL performances are absolutely horrible. 9 appearances out of 11 Gold League so far, and he only made it to the playoffs once, and that was the Keeper patch. But he's confident to break the curse. I really hope so for him, like he deserves it. But so we said this at DreamHack Regionals, we said this at WGL Winter, and he was eliminated last place both times.
Yeah, this is the time to step it up for him. And Soin, you know, we've been talking about big breakout performances quite a bit in the past. We saw Chimiko have one before. We saw Sok have one before. It was Yule Cup once, and also WGL, good runs, especially by Chimiko before. For Soin, we're still waiting for that big one, or can we say he already had it?
Not really. I mean, no tournament win as well, right? But TED Cup was great, as you said. DreamHack Regionals was great. And he's getting more often into these playoff situations, which of course is a lot, like you learn a lot from that. He's always flying under the radar of all the other great Koreans, like the Moons, the Lins, the Lawlights, the Focuses, and in recent days also the Chemicos and the Sox. But maybe he can have an impact again, just as at the DreamHacks, if he's well prepared. Don't underestimate Soin, is my advice for you guys at home.
He used to have quite the wild playstyle. You remember? Like, he would be playing TC first, fast headhunters, which was crazy.
In
He was
Ormura.
doing some weird Zeppelin drop shenanigans. He was definitely up for some wacky stuff, Mass Raider base lane against Undead, for example. But nowadays, he has much more streamlined his play. He's playing much more solid and refined and trying to win in a straight-up game, and that does not seem to be doing him a disservice. He's also been doing well there, just all around talented, and maybe kind of like Foggy, he put down the gimmicks over the years.
Yeah, I totally agree. Way more stable, but that doesn't mean that he can't dash it out, right? Like, if the situation calls for it, he always has tricks up his sleeve, as not only the Chinese call him, also shout out to Kaelaris, the most handsome Korean player right there, even though a couple of other players might see that differently. Looking forward to this, man. Looking forward to the map picks and bans as well. Because, of course, we are here with the best of 2 in this group. Like, this group really may be the weakest of all of them.
Yeah, I think that's kind of fair to say. We have the map vetoes here now. We don't quite see what was vetoed by whom, but Echo should be vetoed by Colorful. And Amazonia, of course, by the Orc. Last Refuge. And Autumn Leaves as well. Autumn Leaves normally Orc veto. So it looks like Colorful vetoed Last Refuge. Seems like he doesn't want to play Talons then. Talons recently not been looking that great. Soin picks Northern Isles. And Colorful picks Tidehunters for our 2 maps in this best of 2.
Alright then, you guys, it's time for you to cast predictions. Colorful versus Soin is about to begin. We have our players here. Colorful, still one of the youngest players in the scene, even though he's around for a long time. Can this be his major breakout performance, or can we say the same about Soin? 2 players that are on the list for a couple of fans out there. Not the super top favorites, but close to it. Certainly can make it to the playoffs. Colorful should make it to the playoffs in this group as well. Sock and Linguagua, who we will see later today. But this is map number 1. This is Tidehunters again. We ended off on Tidehunters. We start this on Tidehunters. And yeah, the year for the 2, for Colorful, as we said, quite exceptional. We broke down the tournaments already. It's very rare that there's a tournament that he plays that he's not making into the playoffs anymore. There was Yule Cup and Smile Cup. Also, the recent TED Cup. There was a little bit of a dip. So, is his shape facing downwards, or was it just a hiccup at TED Cup?
I'd say it's just a hiccup. It would be weird if his shape was looking so good for such a long time and then suddenly just dropped off entirely. Just everyone, you know, can have a bad day or 2. I still think Colorful is going to have a great performance here. His fundamentals are super solid. He can rely on his micro. He has extremely good control. That's normally what he wins with in the end. Just reliable strategies and then proper execution, which is rare to see for a Night Elf. Normally, Night Elves try to go for the smart strategical play and get ahead with that build, with some tactics, but Colorful is much more down the line execution based. And we're going to have a standard opening here. Keeper with the Archer Huntress opening into expansion and Blade Master on the other side. You mentioned earlier Soin is certainly capable of cheesing every now and then, but cheesing a Keeper and Hunts is very hard to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't know a tactic that reliably works, and I'm always in for the cheese, you know. But here in this matchup, yeah, it's very straightforward, very little space to move away from the norm. This matchup, for both players, for Colorful on this patch is a 12 and 10. For Soin it's a 9 and 8. So both not masters in this matchup. Both not bad. But yeah, that's kind of it. On this patch, the direct encounter is a 1 and 1. So they're trading victories here. This could be as even as it gets.
We see the early game progressing here, only creeping for now. No very early harass by the Blade Master. Of course, he's going to have to be aggressive at some point to prevent level Keeper for some time, but he can't really prevent level 2, so wants to just creep up a bit himself. In the middle, you can stack up on items very easily. Got Circlet from the shop and got 2 small items from the turtles. If you happen to get double slippers there, it's stupidly strong, but he wasn't lucky enough for that. It's double gauntlets, but we also have a marketplace on this map. If you don't find the items, you can buy the items. Hasn't made use of that yet, but I would imagine later he is going to. Also going for a dust, and a telestaff might be added in soon as well. And the question is, when are we going to see the expo timing? Because of course, playing with a Keeper, you have to play expansion sooner or later.
How about the 2 heroes meet in the middle at the tavern, just trade their items? Wouldn't that benefit both of them? Maybe Soin has to put an invitation for a hot pot on top, but would be nice for both.
Yeah, I'm sure Soin would feel very inclined, but he doesn't have any gauntlets anymore to trade.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not sure if that trade deal is going to go through.
Nah, not anymore. Ah, true. It's not the greatest trade. That's for sure as well. Yeah, so far so standard. It's oftentimes in the early stages a rather calm matchup, and then we have the big pushes with both players trying to go for an expansion, both players trying to shut them down. Keeper, of course, a very big weapon thanks to Treants, first and foremost. Didn't unlock the big levels yet. On the other side, a Blade Master roaming with a sharp knife can always cut down trees. So yeah, it's a lot about expansions, a lot about mass, and also a lot about experience.
And here we see the telestaff advantage coming in. Colorful is faking an attack across the map, kills the peon, forces the Blade Master back, and then he just staffs over to his units, creeping the natural and expanding. And I gotta say, shouldn't have Soin prioritized the staff more? Many orcs nowadays try to make sure at 1900 hours they are at that shop, and having Windwalk and more damage, oftentimes you have the upper hand there to get the item. but he didn't get it here. Now he shows up at the expansion. Maybe he can get off a cancel. This would be great. His DPS isn't that high. The keeper is coming around the corner with Entangle. I don't think this is going to work out here for the cancel.
Not really. He's also detected thanks to the Sentinel Owl there in the trees. And absolutely, gotta be careful about that second Entangle, but Windwalk is ready. He's out of Sentinel detection range and the heal self-applied. So maybe a second round of aggression, maybe an item or two. What's he going for? Slippers, good bang for your buck, good damage, especially once the crit is unlocked. Shadowhunter second hero, there we go for the crit. But yeah, relatively slow start for Soin, I agree.
Creeping that camp with the grunt simultaneously. That means the Shadowhunter got hardly any experience. If you solo creep this camp with the Shadow, you're almost level 2 right away, but this way, that's not the case. Good early game for Colorful, definitely. He's missing level 3 Keeper, but other than that, everything looking tremendous. And that's probably the hardest part for Orc in this matchup, honestly, the early game. Being able to creep yourself, delay the Expo, delay Keeper 3, and manage to get safe creeping on tier 2 with the Shadowhunter as well. It's very, very difficult to make work properly. It's very, very delicate, and definitely a little bit hard to execute early on in the early game for the Orc than it is for the Night Elf, and this was not perfect for Soin by any means. Blade Master showing up at the expansion, but he's so low HP, he has to be super careful. He's creeping up on the high ground. We saw that in the past on maps like Last Refuge already, but the Keeper knows he is level 3, he can easily get some kills here.
Heal wave absolutely necessary here. That is one grunt kill, maybe a second one. Speed scroll invested as well. There's a snake pit on the high ground, but Colorful just dodges it. And that is 6 supply, 400 gold down the drain. Jumpstart for the Alchemist as well. Level 1.6 already. Tremendous start for the third LP Club player in this tournament. 4 Warcraft players of that clan participating here in WGL. For one of them, of course, great start. There was focus, and Colorful could just do the same if it continues to be that way. Warmill, of course, also necessary, but man, Soin, you need a tremendous fight. You need an exceptional fight to claw back into this game, but it doesn't look good at all.
Blade dropping low right away. There's no good heal wave to heal him yet. The Shadowhunter in trouble as well. Heal wave for him. Also, he's at the Blade Master at the same time. One Hunter is going down, but also a heal potion needed here. And the Alchemist levels up to 2. One more grunt could easily go down. Keeper has a bit more mana. Should have another Entangle in a moment. And Colorful, he's putting on the screws, man. So he would just love to be left alone, creep up to 3, and counter expand. But the Night Elf is giving no edge here to the opponent.
Oh, man. Acid Bomb, one after the next, has to be countered. Good damage. Finally some damage on the hunt, but this looks like the almost a perfect retreat. But it's should be a trade. Blade Master in trouble, being entangled once again. Actually, Soin saves that grunt, but they're all going so low. Scratch that. Double kill for Colorful again. And that is now a 10 supply lead for the one player with the expansion, with the level lead, expansion lead as well. He got all the leads you can get in a Warcraft game.
Yeah, normally, you know, the Orc's supposed to get to 50 supply, and then with level 3 Shadow, and then I am supposed to struggle a bit, having to deal with these Serpent Wards, which are tough to do, and you don't have that big army yet, but Colorful is just taking this game by storm. And I really think a ton of this comes down to the Telestaff. So in not making sure you get that Telestaff early on does seem like a clear mistake that cost him the early game, and might cost him the game, but it's not over yet, Neo. Shadowhunter level 3 is still a big upgrade. Those Serpent Wards are very strong, and the Night Elf army is still consisting mostly of Huntresses, but now we're going to be seeing the transition to Archers when the stronger late game gears, the Archers, will be looking much better against these Serpent Wards.
Yeah, as handsome as Soin is, this game looks pretty ugly. Also the inventory for Colorful, great. With the heal scroll. Protection scroll invul. Oh, Shadowhunter in a world of hurt again. Creeps are attacking, Hunters is attacking. Did he calculate this perfectly? Can the Hunt catch up? 160 critical strike. Keeper in trouble, has the TP out. One Shaman falls on the way out. And this was what I was about to mention. Archer comes in! Arrow to the knee! And the Shadowhunter drops. Oh, how unfortunate. Wasn't the great escape that he was hoping for. It's up to the Blade Master now to carry. He got a circle, he got slippers, he got gloves of haste, he got boots of Kel'Thalas. He got crazy amount of damage, and that's exactly what Soin needs with the big red numbers.
And this is almost unusual to see an IFB this aggressive, right? It's normal to see Keeper level 3 Alchemist saying hello and pressuring the Shadow a bit, but Caliber just keeps going in. Has this Alchemist crept anything this game? Like one green camp maybe for the Slippers, maybe? No, he was. Those were given over. He's just been creeping the Orc. He's been creeping Grunts.
Yeah, and buildings, and how do you hold this? A 20 supply lead without your second hero, without the healer, without a big source of damage in Serpent Wards. This is mission impossible, and Soin is no Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it seems like this first game is gonna end soon here, boys. Huge supply lead. Only thing missing here is a level 3 Alchemist and perhaps a bit of mana on the Night Elf side. But he might not even need it. Takes out one more grunt. That is level 3 now. The shop is barely kept alive. Shadowhunter needs to return ASAP. But the problem is, he himself isn't level 3 either. And that Shadowhunter fast level 3 is normally what brings the Orc back in the mid-game. And this was never allowed by Colorful. Great game by the Chinese, and Soin is having not much of a chance here in the first game. Oh, Blade in trouble, getting purged out of that entangle. Heal scroll committed. Level 4 on the Keeper, but perhaps Soin can find some kills. Blade Master, however, dropping low as well, has to go for the potion. Alchemist in trouble as well. Entangle, focus, Blade almost dead. He will fall. Detected thanks to the Sentinels. And that is going to be our GG for the second series. Colorful taking the 1-0.
Dude, these archers should go to the Olympics, man. They got good chances for a gold medal, if you ask me. Double kill on the heroes. Smooth sailing for Captain Colorful.
Yeah, looking certainly like a return to shape there. No longer looking shaky at all. Good performance by Colorful. He's playing a very solid early game and almost an easy game, I want to say. He has had much tougher challenges before. For example, thinking back to those games at Yule Cup, China versus the West. Colorful and Hitman's games were super fun. Super tight games, very close all the time, great back and forths. But you have to make sure as Orc that you have a solid early game. You have to slow down the Keeper, you have to slow down the Expo, you have to get your own levels. It's all very hard to do. You have to check for APs in the meantime. There's so many things you have to make sure you accomplish early on, and so in failing on some of those early on gets Colorful into a demanding lead in the mid game, and Colorful executes that without any hesitation. Clear 1-0 to start off our series.
Yeah, the favorite prevails here in a very good fashion. In this group also, Sok and Linguagua, so even if Soin loses here, it's not the end of the world. He still has chances against Sok. It's kind of 50-50 against Linguagua. He might even be the favorite. So yeah, tough opening match for the Korean. Really tough opening performance here, as there was no threat, but maybe this is more a statement of the force that is colorful recently than a weakness of Soin.
I could definitely agree to that.
Of course you agree to that if I praise colorful. It's no surprise.
It was mainly a great performance by Colorful, and also it was his map, right? This was Autumn Leaves. Northern Isles is going to be much more developed in terms of what Soin has to do. With the new maps, Orcs have been struggling much more, and that's not really because the new maps are bad for Orc, it's because all the details haven't been figured out yet. The greats, Lin and Fly, they have shown how well some maps can be played, like Concealed, Northern Isles Echo. We've seen crazy good early games where everything is being done perfectly by the Orc, and you have to have a really good game plan, and you have to have practiced it a whole bunch. And here on Tidehunters, there's just not enough game tape yet. There's just not enough experience yet. On Northern Isles, it's going to be a different story, and I'm sure it's going to be looking better for Soin.
Are you saying the meta still has to settle?
I guess you could say that, Neo. Yeah, I guess you could.
Are you also saying the Orcs are lazy and they're not practicing enough?
They are practicing, but they need some time to develop those things, you know. That's also something that the wise T-Edge once told us. It oftentimes takes the Orcs a while to get the perfect build out, and that doesn't just go for matchups themselves, but also for creep routes in certain matchups and scout patterns. At the moment, builds by Orcs seem to be pretty predictable, especially against Orc and Undead. We see the Farseer Headhunters, but not here, of course. Night of the One matchup where Farseer Headhunter is not playable because of the strength of the Keeper. The fast level 3 Keeper is still an absolute menace. Shaman are supposed to deal with it, but you still want to be in a solid position. You don't want to be overrun by those Huntresses. And it happened this time here for Soin on map 1. But yeah, Northern Isles, it's going to be a different story. I give you my word.
Okay, and we all know that Remo is a faithful man, and thou shall not lie. It's very high on the list, so we'll see where we go. In Northern Isles, of course, getting cold in this upcoming matchup. With Fly and Infi not here, Colorful is really one of the top 4-5 players, I guess, for the first time. Alongside 120, Lin Moon,
Lawlight,
and Lawlight, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and deservedly so, I think. He's been putting in the work, he's really been grinding, he's been performing very, very well lately. There was a period for a couple of weeks where he seemed to be absolutely unbeatable, and map 1, he didn't look very beatable either, just super solid performance there. Colorful, showing us how it's done. Going to Northern Isles, if he gets the 2-0 win here, is also going to mean big points for him. And Soin gonna make things very difficult for the Orc in that case. But yeah, it's gonna be a different story this time. It should be easier for the Orc to scout. It should be easier to control the Keeper, easier to control the expansion early game. And the early game is really the crux of this matchup. If you have a solid early, you can accelerate it with the Shadow Hunter, you can counter expand reliably, and then you're gonna be in a stable game. But if the early game goes bad, you might just die early.
Is Colorful for the first time in WGL history on point with his performance right off the bat? That would be quite something. He really is supposed to reach the quarterfinals for the second time in a row. Soin, can you tie this up? Can you turn things around? Can you step up your game on your map? Northern Isles it is. Soin for Korea and the Horde in the bottom left, and Colorful for China, the Night Elves, and the Lao Pao Esports Club in the blue upper right.
But I have a standard opening here once again from the look of things. Colorful going for the green camp creep first. We're going to have a Keeper at the beginning. If he's feeling bold, he could even go Treants into natural creep right away. But Soin should be opting for a Peon Scout. In fact, that is what he's doing. And delaying the barracks here for a while. We have been seeing Orcs nowadays go for fast shop and fast barracks by going for more lumber at the beginning, sacrificing a bit of gold and microing the peons. We've all seen those Hitman streams, right? But Colorful for now just straight up, or Soin rather, straight up skipping the barracks. Are we seeing that right, or is it coming after?
That's a
no
shop.
Barracks.
Okay, we told you about this special strats up his sleeve. Rather normal these days, but yeah, after a game 1 like this, I think this is the perfect moment to do something crazy.
It is going to be scouted right away by Colorful, so he knows there's no grunt out, so it's going to be very hard for Soin to creep, so Soin basically has to be aggressive. A favorite thing for Orcs to do on this map early on is go for the consumables. At the green camp, the Murloc Flesh Eater. Oh, Peon trying for a last hit, but not getting it. If you get illusions or sentry wards, it's a great help to scout against the Night Elf, which is really what you want. But here we have the Blade first going for the permanent item, hoping for those slippers again. And the Keeper creeping up to level 2.
Mantle, it is not what he was looking for. And that's quite some time for the Keeper, right? He's gonna get level 2 after this one. We got Circlet now to make up for things. A little bit more damage. And Cloak to hide from the Blade is obviously very nice to have. A little bit more safety. All about inventory, tiny bits of experience. And once again, a calm opening.
The Blade is going to get the consumable here. Is it a scouting item? Yes, it is. Sentry wards, very good. You're always a little bit sad if you get replenishment potion or lightning shield there, but the sentry is great. He's going to place it up there and they're going to have great vision to see what's going on with the expansion timing. But the Keeper smartly going for the same camp on the other side, going to take the consumable there. And the Peon, by the way, he was hacking into the trees. It would be pretty wild if he was to build a tower there or something, but that's probably not the case. Colorful's having a tough time creeping this camp. He didn't do it quickly enough. The Blade Master's going to steal the item.
Huh. Also no level 2 currently. Wisp detonated, so no additional experience to that blade. But that's Colorful in a little bit of trouble without Entangle. Can't control that Blade Master.
And gonna be another good consumable here for the blade. Find the replenishment potion, always nice to have. Not super amazing by any means, but yeah, Keeper now level 2. What's he gonna do with that? And that sentry, that vision, just so valuable. The reason, by the way, why you need some sort of scouting against Night Elf early is you can't scout with grunts, because the grunts would just die to Entangle, and that would be extremely painful for that mid game. You could, of course, do it with peons, but it's also gonna cut into your lumber. And this time the blade going for the tally staff. He's got the scout in the north. As I promised you, Neo, a much better game for Soin.
Yeah, very nice to see. Also, that peon was denied last second, being hunted by the archer for a long time, but in the end, Creeps got the last hit. So, okay, we creep on more. Colorful with the next big item. This time, we got the tally staff, as you said, second circlet. Would have been nice on the Blade Master as well, but the Keeper, a little bit of a stealing magpie. Not the Blade Master for once. And here's the expansion. This is the condition to win the game for Colorful. Can he disrupt this? There is a scout. Is it out of range of the scout?
No, he sees it. Sentry Ward vision range is crazy. It's like 1600 or something, so this is easily in range. And that means that should be an easy cancel again. Those sentry wards absolutely amazing. It's Colorful, or Soin rather, a bit lucky with the items, but you know, it's part of the game. And in fact, he got 2 of these consumables. And Colorful's expo timing, it's going to be tremendously late this game.
Huh. Okay, would love to see the tech timing so far. Soin with a little bit of a lead. But yeah, Colorful just trying... Oh, that's a nice creep, actually. That's a big one for the Shadow Hunter. But he lures him out, creeps it safely, gets the big consumable off of the map. Big invo potion would have been crazy good for the Blade Master. That's a really nice touch by Colorful.
Yeah, really cool. Costs him a lot of mana, but the Moon Juice should still be looking good, so should be all fine. And Soin going for the Scorpion creep first. Rare to see, but it's pretty safe to do, and it's going to give him 2 small items and level 2. Blade Master being played very sacrificially, only level 1, however close to the level up, just used as expo cancel and scouting, and is going to be under-leveled here this game. And the Keeper did get level 3 again, despite a slow start. Colorful gets his level 3, and now going to try to pressure, maybe look for some kills, and finally get this expansion rolling.
Huh. Really interesting way for Colorful to get out of that not so favorable position. Not saying that Soin has a bad game by any means, but he's lacking levels. Getting his army up now, which is quite good, but Colorful, every time you get the Alchemist, this means power creeping. And I think he's about to run away with the game again. Okay, little creep steal in the north. Nobody's really willing to fight at the moment. Wait. Oh, okay, there is mana to get out. Ah, that's mana enough.
If there was detection there, he might have been in trouble with Entangled Acid Bomb, but...
Calculated.
He gets out. Mana super low now, so no more Windwalks for a bit. And this is the most valuable experience for the Shadow Hunter. He's almost getting level 3 for this camp. Only needs a couple more Treants. So Purge could be his way to level 3 or 1 more green camp. But now finally Colorful is looking for that fight again. Speed scroll to disengage. But 1 grunt will be falling. And he has another Purge, so the rest should be safe. Oh, it's Hex, actually.
Whoa. Okay, that means he'll probably switch later. That is a good crowd control spell for the early stages of the mid-game. Will require Tome of Retraining down the road. Without healing, you can't fight. That is absolutely impossible against the Acid Bomb, against the Glaives, against the Keeper damage, Treants, all of that. And you can't just get every single heal scroll, ever.
And now we're standing in the middle, bit of Mexican standoff style. Whoever engages the camps first is going to be creepjacked. And Soin's going to get the heal scroll. Very valuable. This is the first one. The second one is going to be on cooldown for some time.
Soin is so close to 2 super important level ups, 2 and 3. But I doubt he's gonna get that early. The focus fire with Acid Bomb is absurd! Oh, so close! I don't want to talk this calculated thing here, but man, that was as close as it gets with below 30 HP. Alchemist going into the back line again. Soin is just not ready.
He doesn't have that level 3 Shadow Hunter yet. He's so close, man. If he had it, he could perhaps take this fight. But again, when it comes to the early skirmishes, Colorful firstly is looking just very confident, never shying away from a fight, and also always comes out on top.
Yeah. With the top seed in the group, with the top performance so far. Never overcommitting, always knowing when to poke a little, when to move away, when to dodge, and still, while dodging the opponent, when he's moving away from the normal game plan, always getting stuff done. We see it here, Orb of Venom already online, tier 3 achieved for Colorful, and that is so many good upgrades for the Night Elf.
Yeah, dude, blink and you'll miss it. How fast of a tier 3 was this by Colorful? And normally what that means is that the mid game for you isn't going to be that strong and perhaps the Orc should be favored, but that did not happen here. Colorful, after a bit of a rough, very early stage, once again came back nicely, and that Orb of Venom is providing so much more damage. But so are the Serpent Wards. Shadowhunter finally got level 3, and now these Serpent Wards are doing tremendous damage against the Huntresses. Blade Master getting focused, dropping low and going down. There was no more mana for Purge to get him out of the entangle there. Blade Master falls, painful loss. He's revived at the tavern, but that was expensive. Looking for more kills, chasing with the Speed Sword and the Hex. Going up against the Keeper. He might be going down, but he has items to save himself with. Invoke Potion will make him survive. The Bottom comes in as well, adding in a bit more damage, or perhaps it's the Owl. It's the Owl. Heal Spray from the Alchemist, cancelled with the Hex. Man, and the Invul's about to run out. Alchemist in trouble as well. And perhaps a hero kill now for the Orc, trying to transfer the TP. That is going to work out. And with that, Colorful keeps at least his heroes alive, if it wasn't all the Hunts.
Man, how would this fight look with the Blade Master involved? But he was in a world of hurt. Way too heavy focus fire on him and not enough items to keep him in the fight. And with that, without that damage, without the presence of the Blade Master, that's how things go if you are facing high tier Night Elf. Still no Expo though. That might be the one liability that Colorful has at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely unusual to see. For the most part with the Keeper, we expect that expansion, but he has tier 3, which is also big upgrades for him. And speaking of upgrades, for Soin we have the Scourge Bone Chimes. Amazing item for the Blade Master and Grunts, especially in long, extended fights where everything is taking damage. Extremely valuable to have. Soin is healing up still with heal salves. His mana here is pretty low. And with that low mana on the Shadow, he doesn't want to take this fight. The Acid Bomb connects wonderfully, but the Keeper finds himself exposed, getting purged, getting focused, and getting surrounded.
No TP. He has a staff, has to pop it, but at the moment he can't get himself out. Hex, and that's the kill for Soin, who claws his way back into the series like that. The Keeper is gone, the Control is gone, the Summons are gone. Keeper is back now, Wisps are coming in, a Blade Master in trouble again, but there's nothing really to detonate on. A couple of Shaman, maybe, there we go. 2 of them down. There's not much to work with spell-wise for Soin. Blade Master in a world of hurt again, but also no Entangle to get rid of that staff. He can heal up. Still Grunts going down. Dust settles, still even supply.
It was a nice play by Soin here, getting that Keeper kill. He hexed the Bottom, who was given the staff to prevent said staff. So he got that hero kill, but it wasn't good enough. It's just so hard to deal with the big Night Elf army. Even, I guess it's not that big, but it does have marksmanship archers, which have a lot of DPS. And holding on against that without healing, without heal wave, so hard to do. Soin has favored this Hex and Serpent Ward build for a long time, but I'm not really sure it's so strong anymore. If you play it on tier 2 with a Tempo Wyvern, it's pretty powerful for a short amount of time, but he never played that Wyvern. And now, in this late game, it's always painful to not have that heal wave, of course.
Yeah, getting more painful by the minute as the damage is ramping up as well. Marksmanship finished, as you said. No second orb yet, but Mana Stone on the Alchemist, of course, also exceptional. Level 3 for the Blade. That is level 2 crit, finally. Absolutely necessary. Colorful sets up for a new expansion in the north, and I guess that could be the nail in the coffin if it works. Soin has to scout quite a bit to see that as early as possible and to pounce on it as early as possible.
Well, he's gonna get the big item here. What's this one gonna be? Claws plus 12. Okay. The items are starting to line up. And the Shadow Hunter is gonna be level 4. And then we should see that tome finally.
We also have a big item for Colorful. Probably picking it up. Yep. Hammer of Valor. No aura. Still decent, I guess, if you are facing a level 2 Blade Master with level 3 Blade Master with crit and a Claw plus 12. But yeah. He wasn't dreaming about this item for sure. Level 4 Shadow Hunter. Is that Heal Wave 1 now? Yes, 2-1-1 build. So at least some healing, even if it's not the most mana efficient.
Okay. Might still be worth to go into the Tome of Retraining. Cheaper nowadays. It used to be 300 gold. Nowadays only 200. And there it is. Blade Master picks it up. The Tome is going to be given to the Shadow here before too long. Level 4 Keeper, 3 Alchemist, and the bottom almost 3. She could get it there at the last bit of the Murlocs, maybe. It's going to be a lot of damage from this Knight of Ranged Army.
Yeah, the Tome of Retraining goes well together with the Pendant of Energy that he just found, so more healing thanks to the second skill point and thanks to more mana. Cheeky play by Colorful, right? Expansion upper left, not the 12 o'clock expansion, where basically everyone would expect it.
We see here, by the way, no Serpent Wards yet, so this might be Heat Wave Hex, the old school build, which might be better, honestly.
Could come in as a big surprise.
But also, yeah, we have a couple of Huntresses out again, so that is once more going to put more incentive on the Serpent Wards. Army on the Orc side looking a little heavy on the Shaman, right? He has 6 Shaman and only 5 Grunts. Would perhaps like to have that differently.
It's such a big advantage with the Owls now. He can scout all the time. But okay, here we go into the fight. Archers are knocking down the Shaman immediately. Acid Bomber to the Grunts. But there's not a big front line at all. It's one hunt. Blade Master deals with the Archer in the back. That's 160 critical strikes right there. And Tangle is a little bit of a damage mitigation. But that's the only damage mitigation he has. Otherwise, a pretty straightforward army. Heal Scroll committed already. There's a lot of mana, though, on Colorful side. Invo Potion and a mana potion also for Soin, but the supply is plummeting for the Korean.
That double O Venom is doing great damage. Blade Master getting entangled here a couple of times, sometimes using the mirror image, but now it's going to force a TP out. Colorful disengages, he's at 50 supply, Soin lost way more, down to only 35. Colorful also has a bank that he can work with, still has the big mana, still has the Mana Stone. Could go for a 3rd orb if he wants, but on an Alchemist, that's like the worst orb carrier, so probably not a good idea. But the Heal Spray is a good idea, healing up nicely. And now the expansion is about to be finished.
Look at this army for Soin, man. It looks absolutely pathetic. He has a Grunt, he has a Shaman, he has 2 heroes. That's it.
Yeah, in that fight, the Shaman definitely seemed to be mispositioned, leading the charge, some of them getting sniped, then pulling them back in a panic, and then they weren't in range for the purge, so that wasn't a perfect engagement by Soin. And this is looking rough now for the Korean. After a good early game, Colorful, the favorite, again, fought his way back and started outplaying the opponent, kind of like we saw in the first game with Focus against Fortitude. At least the levels are looking good for the Orc. Double level 4, double level 5 on Blade Shadow is very, very strong, but we're not super close to that yet.
Oh, I love that critical strike. They're getting close to the 200. But Mana Potion, Mana Stone, Double Orb, Heal Scroll again. This inventory for Colorful is an absolute beauty. Who has the expansion running now. He never really broke upkeep big time or for a long time. So he has a lot of gold to spare, and we see that reflected in his equipment. Might be the final fight of this game. Mirror image immediately, but I think he can identify the Blade Master very early. Lightning Shield to get rid of it, but this army is just not ready, as it seems. The position is a little better this time, but once there's a focus fire, there's a dead unit.
Yeah, speaking of which, there was 2 raiders there. He used 1 ensnare to cancel 1 heal spray. That's all those 2 raiders did. And then they just died. Perhaps not quite worth the investment, and it's just so much damage to it. Acid Bomb, Orb of Venom, and Colorful is destroying this fight. Actually, supply is very even still, but I think that's kind of misleading. Keeper gets level 5. Big level up for him. Bottom in trouble, but she's staffed out. And will be healing up again at the Moonwells. One more heal spray coming through. That's the last one for now. But remember, there's the Mana Stone, which can always be used if necessary. Wants to hold on to that as long as he can. Kodo Beasts have to be careful. Taking so much damage from these Archer, from the Focus Fire Purge being used. Kodo survives.
He needs a Hail Mary play, he needs like 4 crits in a row, but this is not allowed. Last heal wave, no item to boost the mana anymore, so this is the HP he has to work with. Trying to confuse his opponent with the mirror image, that works decently. Look at the micro by Colorful, look at how precise he pulled back with 3 archers. Perfectly timed, can heal them all up now, gets a grunt as well at the same time. It's just a great game by Colorful. The only issue is he misses 3 wisps in the mine, but he's replenishing them now. There's barely any flaw in the Chinese.
Yeah, just super solid. This time also showing that he can't just win when he's got the lead in the mid game. He can also fight his way back from a bad early game and outplay the opponent over the course of a long stretched out game, even without the normal expansion. So Colorful with some variations, going for the 1 base tier 3. Even that is going to be working out for him. Second expansion coming up in the bottom right corner, and if that one finishes, that's the checkmate move. There's no way to come back from this. The Owl Scout in the late game, by the way, crazy good.
Yeah.
Early game, Owl always bad because you want to have all the damage or healing that you can. It's very low tempo, of course. But late game for army scouting, crazy good. Because it's invulnerable. There's nothing, absolutely nothing you can do about Owls.
Yeah, nothing can beat them. Best unit in the game. We have... we have more mirror image, but is this the last stand now? It's looking like a 2-0 for Colorful, who's absolutely asserting dominance. Even if he's losing a lot of archers here, nice heal wave, he can just easily reproduce them. He's at 400 gold himself, and the Raiders and the Grunt and the Shaman, they're just taking way too much damage from that range focus fire. Heal wave might be nice, but it's mostly single target damage with a little bit of AoE on top. It's a very, very good mix. Blade Master in trouble, Shadow Hunter in trouble. Ooh, Invo Potion last second. Raiders and Shaman about to go extinct.
I wonder if Netty's enabled a new quest system, because it looks like for map 2, Colorful has the quest, win the game in no upkeep only. Because just refusing to go above 50, and you know what, Neo? He doesn't even need it.
He doesn't need it.
He's going for the Blade Master again. Entangle almost leads to the kill. Good purge there, but one more shot and he's dead. And just towards the end, he goes to 51 supply, failing his quest, but he wins the game. 2-0 victory for Colorful, 3 points for him, and he looks like he was just simply expecting this one.
Yeah, I agree. No big emotions, as so often by Colorful. Very calm and collected player. Little bit of a botch start to the tournament for Soin, who also, same as Fortitude, didn't really challenge his opponent too much. It wasn't, again, a bad performance by any means. There were no big blunders, no big flaws, but we have 2 games now, and twice one player was clearly better than the other.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what we call a stompy day so far, but we're only 2 games in. We're gonna have 4 more coming up in our best of 2s. But yeah, Colorful. I'm glad to see this return to shape for him. I was kind of worried that again he's gonna dip for WGL. How many times has it happened? Dude, how often were we in China and it was like, bro, this is the time. This is the year. Colorful, he's been looking so good. He's been looking so good. And then you would tell me, I don't know, man. Colorful always failed the WGL, don't you remember? And I would be like, this is not this time, man. This time it's going to be different. This time it's going to be different. But it always used to be Colorful failing until now.
Was about
this
to say.
Absolutely great. Very convincing 2-0 here. And yeah, a move out of the groups is expected here for the Night Elf.
Yeah, I can tell you how often that happened. It happened exactly 8 times so far. That is 4 years of WGL. Plus the DreamHack Regional Finals, by the way, where you would try to spin the same narrative and were shut down relatively early. Kind of nice that you got a little bit of a gift here as well. On my birthday even, you have a good time too. But he still has Sok, he still has Linguagua, but if I'm Linguagua, I would be really scared about that rock solid performance of Colorful here. Looks just good again in this matchup.
Yeah, Colorful, you know, over many years throughout his career against ORC, he's always looked strong. And it is definitely not an easy matchup for ORC. There's so many things to be kept in mind. As I mentioned earlier, especially the early game has to be on point. And as we saw on map 2, the early game being good isn't even necessarily gonna be enough. There is some great masters of this matchup out there. Fly was the first one to really show how this matchup is played. Nowadays, Lin is also crazy good, but if you aren't playing it absolutely flawless, you can very quickly fall apart against the keeper. That's what we saw here, and that might be what Linguagua is also afraid of. Linguagua in his own right a good player, but perhaps not on the same level as the other ones. We're gonna see later on in this group stage what he's gonna be presenting against Colorful, how he's gonna fare.
Yeah, Remo, just wait and see what my man Linguagua is capable of doing. Dude, if he gets a better result than Colorful, I'm not stop laughing for the rest of the year. That would probably be the best gift this week for me.
We can go for a bet, Neil.
Yeah, bets
finish.
Bets usually go very, very well for me, as you see.
Yeah, I remember at DreamHack Regionals. How was that going, Neil? The profit there. What happened?
I don't know what you're talking about. I made it fun entertainment for all the viewers. That's my role as a broadcaster. And
I thought that was Ricky in his clown outfit. But
that's the cherry. That's the cherry on top. We have the next game coming up. It is Chemico versus PCG123. Wonder if we have an interview? Apparently no colorful interview here, so our next match starts in 5 minutes, and we take a little look into our stream labels where we have all the supporters, as we got a couple of donations coming in here. As I said, this is WGL Netties Championships. We keep the broadcast as clean as possible, so every time we go into a break, we take that time to thank you for your contributions, and that is once again Burrow Rush with the big 5,000 bits. I rely on Coil Nova 3-month resub, Eichel Salat 11-month resub, Stefan Die Waldfee spending money on the channel. That's the first, I think, gifting a sub. Jan Dog loves us, thank you. Dr. Blaubeer, happy birthday Janis, enjoy the day and the week with the best of Warcraft. Will do, my man, will do. And soon, with a 26-month resub, happy birthday Neo, thanks for all the great content, love Woofies. Love soon, thank you very much. Our next set is about to kick off in 4 minutes. So far, Focus 2-0, Colorful 2-0. We see you guys in a couple of minutes.